Oftentimes, people kind of associate PlayStation with being extremely developer friendly, with, doing things to really attract developers to the platform, with doing things to really kind of, just to really go out there and really just kind of understand what developers need and kind of what they want to accomplish with PlayStation. Jade Raymond, who you guys might know from the Splinter Cell series, she's now working with Haven Studios, and she did a Game Industries Biz fireside chat, and she was talking about what it means to sort of go out there and work for PlayStation. And I really wanted you guys to listen to this a little bit about why she chose PlayStation to make an exclusive game over, say, a Microsoft. And I think we'll all kind of probably agree that this is pretty darn huge. And I just have to say, what a phenomenal thing to hear. And a lot of Xbox fans aren't happy to hear this, but that's just the way it is. But let's go ahead and listen to what she basically has to say. Okay.
Well, you mentioned this earlier. You've immediately partnered with PlayStation, Herman, and that whole team. But I'm sure you had your pick of backers. So why Sony? What was it that made you go, right? No, that's the partner.
Well, there are many reasons. I think Sony really does have the best reputation for supporting the creative process and supporting dev teams. I've done a lot of talking to different developers about their experience, working with different publishers, and Sony does stand out as being a company that really understands the creative process and developing games and supports the dev teams and gives them the autonomy they need. So that was a big attractor. Also, just we're all sort of big fans since we're kids of Sony, so there's something really cool about getting to work on a first party PlayStation game that was really appealing to us, like sort of for a lot of people a dream of something they wanted to do. So it was I guess just we're all super excited about the opportunity.
Yeah.
And so basically you sort of have a situation where you can obviously see that she's very excited. But the thing that's funny to me is how she basically lays it flat out that they have the best reputation in the industry. And if you think about it, it's true. I mean, we could sit there and look at what Microsoft has done and say, oh, well, they're a changed Microsoft. But then when we look at the facts, how are they changed, okay? They closed down a bunch of studios just recently. They closed down a studio like Lionhead. They forced Lionhead, and Phil Spencer was head of Xbox and head of the actual studios when this happened, forced them to do a cross-play Windows 1 vs 4 type weird Fable game. And then the company had a backup plan to do Fable 4 if that should fall through. And they didn't even get a chance to do that because they were closed. You look at Scalebound, complete mess. Right? Complete mess under Phil Spencer. You look at Phantom Dust. The studio wanted $5 million to make a competent game, and apparently that was too rich for Microsoft's blood, and so that game got axed. Not to mention the problems that we continually see with 343, the problems that we continually see with a lot of these games. The Forza Motorsport, for instance, it's been 5 years, nothing from them. And, again, you look at the initiative, we're brought in to do a quadruple A game, right? And now we look and we go, well, how did that work out? Okay? It didn't really work out too well because they ended up having to bring in a completely different AAA team to work on the game. Now, she also mentions that, they kind of have some very interesting things. And I want to go over some of this interview with you guys. So basically, they have a vision with co-founders, but they started off with Stadia. It started to become obvious that they weren't going to be able to do and continue that Stadia wasn't going to continue to invest in game content. So luckily, they were very supportive of her looking into a spin-out. She had their okay to put together a high-level pitch, and it took a couple of funders, and just really, really lucky that their pick of people to work with is PlayStation, and wanted to jump in and support what they were doing. And basically, she thanked Herman Holst for taking a leap of faith with them. And the two reasons that the team side of things was personal reason. The biggest motivation was really they had this great team of talent assembled already to start up, and she wanted to keep the momentum. So now they're working with Sony, and to be able to do a fantastic job, and the belief in them was really outstanding. And just the fact that she's a fan of PlayStation, and it's really cool to kind of work with PlayStation on an exclusive, and she calls it first party, which I thought was very interesting. You just have a feeling if this is like a good game, maybe this is a tryout. I know there was a lot of instances where people said, hey, well, if Crystal Dynamics does good on such and such, Microsoft will buy them. If IO Interactive does good on such and such, Microsoft will buy them. Well, I'm sure if Jade Raymond's game does well and it's good and well received, Sony will buy them. So I do think that there is that kind of aspect to it, and I think that we're going to continue to see a very interesting situation with this. And I do think that we're going to continue to see stuff like this come from Sony, because it just makes a lot of sense, and just where they're going to be able to go, and where they're going to be able to sort of get out there and make the kind of games that they want to make. And I think that having that creative freedom is something that both companies talk about. But if you talk about which company actually delivers, I think it's actually Sony who delivers much more on that than, say, than Microsoft. Microsoft talks a good game, but when it comes down to it, do they actually go out there and and deliver what they promise? I don't think that they do, and I think that it's pretty clear that I think it's pretty clear exactly kind of which company is actually going forward and doing the things that people actually want. And I love the fact that she's very honest and upfront about that. And I've also seen a lot of Xbox fanboys kind of downplay this or whatever. I mean, at this particular point, how can anybody downplay what Sony is doing and the level of success that they've been able to achieve? I think it's absolutely ridiculous that anybody would try to do that, and I also think that it's ridiculous that people just refuse to hold Microsoft accountable for anything that they've actually done. And it's just unfortunate that a $1 trillion company can basically get away with whatever they want, and companies and people will make excuses for them. Again, this is a $1 trillion company. They should have had a plan. They sell you something like a console. They should have something out there to really go out there and make people feel like they've invested wisely into the brand and things like that. So it's a real shame when that doesn't happen. And it doesn't look like Microsoft is, in my opinion, as caught up into the game as much as Sony. And I'm very thankful that Sony's been able to just do such an amazing job of getting games out and nurturing these studios. I mean, obviously this is going to be something that is a very organic thing. Their first game is going to be PlayStation exclusive. They'll probably be brought into the fold as a first party team at some point. And I think that that's a very smart thing. But just seeing the reaction to the fans and the reaction to the way that people kind of go in there and go, that's just a very honest take, and I love that. So with that being said, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. If you enjoyed the content, maybe consider leaving a like or subscribe or whatever floats your boats, or don't, I don't care. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up, crap gamer out.